All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another fantastic Geek Vibes Live interview. I'm your host, Tia, and if you know one thing about me, you know how big of an American Gods fan I am. And arguably the best character on the show is Queen Bilquis. And I can't even believe that I have the most amazing person right now, Yetide Badaki. How are you today?
First of all, you're just making me blush. So you've made my day. And like we all say, all things considered,
Yeah.
doing pretty good right now. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm in New York and it's actually a little sunny today. We've had a lot of snow, nothing compared to what Texas is dealing with, unfortunately, but
Mhm.
at least it's a brighter day today. Are you, I believe, in LA right now?
Yeah, I'm in California. I'm out in the desert. Did I just say California? Apparently,
California.
apparently you moved to the desert. You gained an accent. Who knew? But yeah, I'm out here, and it's yeah, the sun does help. And yeah, the sun's been out today.
Oh, well, that's good. I mean, I feel as if California always seems as if it's sunny and all that, but I'm sure it has its gloomy days as well.
We have our rainy days every once in a while. And because we don't tend to get that much rain, it's like, ooh, weather,
Yeah.
what do we what do we do with that? And so yeah, but it has been nice and sunny today, which is good.
That's awesome. And so we are right now, we just finished episode 6 of American Gods season 3. How does it feel to be more than halfway through the third season?
I mean, I think most people realize that we shot this quite a while ago. We got done with the season somewhere around this time last year.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's actually been a lot of a waiting game for us, that have been involved with the project and not. I mean, it's been wonderful to be able to not hold back
Right.
anymore on at least a couple of the episodes. There's still some spoilery things that we have to hold on to and try not to geek out too hard too early
Yeah.
about. But yeah, it's surreal that now all of us are caught up together up until over halfway through the
Yeah.
season.
And it's fantastic that we have 2 additional episodes this season. Season 1 and season 2 had 8 episodes, and I remember when I heard that we were going to have 10 episodes for season 3, I was like, amazing. Um, how has that helped, say, the story process and all that, as far as like knowing that there's more episodes to tell this grand tale, pretty much?
I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. That's a great question because it is a grand tale. And we have so many incredible storylines to delve into while we're following the incredible Ricky Whittle as Shadow Moon, and as we're seeing all that's happening with Wednesday and Laura Moon and all of that. And then you get to, with that additional time, and look at things that Salim is going through. We get to then explore a couple of, new gods, and we get to explore the incredible Orishas for one, and Cordelia. So it is a joy to be able to have that extra space, those extra episodes, because there's so much along this epic storytelling, and so that gives us some space to go into the different hallways, the different corridors that we don't usually get to go into.
Yeah, and it certainly seems as if season 3 is telling some stories that we hadn't seen previous, such as, when we first saw Bilquis, she was just this wonderful, beautiful goddess, but didn't have, say, a whole lot of lines. She was very mysterious. And now we go from season 1, that Bilquis, to now season 3, and Bilquis is smiling. She's having French fries with Shadow. How does it feel to transform the character like that?
I think the most gratifying thing the most beautiful thing has been that everyone has come on the journey with Bilquis. It doesn't feel like, it wasn't only her story, it was our story, right? And to see people react along the way, like there were a lot of people messaging me around, episode 3, episode 4, they're going, I'm so worried, I don't know if I can handle this. This is stressing me out. And then to hear all the messages from all the people after episode 5, and just a lot of people telling me they burst out into tears, and they're like, I don't know why I'm crying. And I'm going, yeah, no, we're all feeling this catharsis together. And so it's really, for me as a performer, it's such an incredible thing to have this unified experience with everyone, that everyone has seen the valleys that this character has gone through. Everyone has fully invested in the emotional journey. And then also seeing a character move from being spoken about to being able to speak for herself.
Right.
And that was a huge shift, and that was I think that's something that people really are starting to pay attention to, going, wow, look at that journey as well.
Yeah.
So gratifying is the word. There's a lot of gratitude that goes into it, but above all, it's the fact that we've all gotten to go on this journey together, and that has been a beautiful thing.
That is really fabulous. I will say I was worried too for Bilquis. Especially for those who are listening or watching who haven't read the book, I certainly don't want to spoil anything, but I have read the book, and knowing Bilquis and seeing Technical Boy sitting there with blood on his hands, I was like, oh no, 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 no. Which, by the way, that scene that you did with Bruce was really great. And I had a question about it. So we've seen Technical Boy try to recruit Bilquis before. Why do you think this time Bilquis has now kind of decided enough is enough, and she, kind of like imprints, I believe you said in another interview, like empathy pretty much into him. So, why is it now that Bilquis decides to do that?
I mean, it's very much this journey that we've been talking about, where there's so much discovery going on. I don't think she walked into that space saying, this is what I'm going to do if anyone approaches me.
Right.
But there were stirrings already occurring when we meet her. There is that dissatisfaction with where everything is, with the walls closing in, with all the demands being put on her, with the labels being thrown on her, and further encasing her in this cage. And he pushed a little too far, a little too, and I think it's going to be even more fascinating to see along the way, because it's always fascinating to see these two characters together, because they appear to be on such far parts of a spectrum, but they have affected each other.
Yeah.
And I think that, see, this is where I go, we can't quite do spoilers, we're more than halfway through.
I know, I certainly don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but I certainly know what you mean.
Don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But, there's a lot of parallels that then occur journey-wise. And I really enjoy watching those two, because there's this, instead of the past being something that's so against the future, there's an idea of the past, it can affect the present, and in that create a further future. But why, to get back to your original question, do you think that moment, that was the culmination of all the moments before? He's done this repeatedly, they've done this repeatedly, all of these characters, all of these gods have been piling on. And there's a moment where she has to say enough is enough.
Right.
And yes, it even surprises her at that moment.
It first of all really like Bilquis's journey was fantastic, and that moment also pushed Technical Boy into a fantastic journey as well. Because I am also a very big fan of Technical Boy, so I was like, oh, this is cool. It kind of like does both of this really nice split moment there. But you know, you have these great interactions with several characters, and your interaction with, say, Mr. World, say, didn't go that direction as it did with Technical Boy. And even though I love seeing you with Crispin Glover, I was a little sad that we didn't get to see you interact with Miss World. You know, is there any chance we may see Bilquis and Dominique Jackson interact with each other?
No, no, and I love that you refer to the goddess herself as Dominique Jackson, because she is the ultimate goddess. I mean, we're talking about being a fan. I'm such a huge fan of hers, such a huge fan, and I don't want to spoil things.
Yes.
But what I can say is that I'm a huge fan of hers, and I would say maybe no one more than me would absolutely want to share screen time with that goddess.
Yeah, it was something I was hoping would happen, because it that little moment was so funny where Miss World discovered that it was Bilquis who's responsible for the disappearance of the tech guru. And I don't know the words verbatim, but I think Miss World says something along the lines of like, oh, look, it's this, you know,
Right.
BITCH here. You know? And I was like, oh God, I
Right.
would love to see them together. But yeah, she's definitely a goddess herself.
One of my favorite people. I adore Dominique.
Did you ever, even if you say didn't get any screen time together, were you able to at least interact with her, say off screen?
That.
No, I don't. Oh.
I mean, and was there not? However, interact in person, yes. And you should have seen that moment. Like there was a gathering of, quite a few people, and it was, and we just like ran at each other, hugs, just because I'd been going on forever, even in everyone's tired of hearing me talk about it, costuming, wherever. I'm going, Dominique is the best. She's amazing. And we just ran at each other, huge hugs. It felt like we'd known each other forever. I mean, let's talk about someone that's even more stunning in person, which I don't know how that's possible, as stunning as she already is. So yes, there has been interaction off of screen, and I will not say or whether or not there was on the screen.
Well, speaking about beautiful, strong women supporting each other, let's talk about that scene with the Orishas, because that was such a wonderful scene. Me personally, not knowing much about the Orishas, then kind of went into researching who they are. And I mean, can you just talk to us about that moment where Bilquis just has her spiritual awakening with the help of the Orishas?
I just love how the cat sat up at that moment. Exactly. Incredible. Yeah. So first of all, the Orishas, I have to give a huge shout out to Karen Glaive, to Bridget Ogundipe, and to, of course, Horizon Guardiola. These were incredible actresses. So getting to work with them was, I really want to highlight Bridget and Karen as well quite a bit, because most of us know the incredible Horizon, but Bridget and Karen also put in so much beautiful work. For me personally, the Orishas was an idea that was deeply resonant. You, as of course, know that I'm Nigerian. And yes, we have the Orishas come from that side of the world, spread across the diaspora.
Right.
And so it was also very interesting to be able to do the research into that journey as they travel through the diaspora, and the many things that remained over such a long time period. It speaks to the beauty, the resonance, the strength of these incredible beings. getting to then, as a woman, deal with these ideas of self-love, these ideas of inner strength, of speaking life into oneself, in taking space in the world, in cutting off those ties, those labels, which you saw us play around with with the knife dance as well. Um, Deeply empowering. I mean, for lack of a better word, the whole sequence, the whole idea, the whole ideology revolves around this empowerment. Um, and this is one of those times where, as a performer, you feel you are given a gift in getting to explore this world and these concepts that actually enrich beyond that. And I think that's part of the reason people were messaging, talking about having this catharsis moment of these tears, that feeling of community and that feeling of, I as we. I think some people sometimes fear losing the self within it, but it's a greater appreciation of the self, and therefore you're able to greater appreciate everything around you, and the understanding that the other is not as separate from you as you would maybe have initially been led to believe. So getting to play with that whole concept, again, I'll repeat that the word, it was deeply empowering.
It felt like it when you're watching it. I think that it was just performed perfectly, edited perfectly, where you could really feel that sort of power. And for me, it was really eye-opening with Bilquis because I felt as if Bilquis was kind of going through a transformation similar to maybe Matt Sweeney went to, in the sense where we thought he was a leprechaun and then you realize what he actually was. So it's like, oh, we think Bilquis is this one thing, but in fact, she is just so much more. So my question
Yeah.
is kind of small, but how old do we think Bilquis actually is? That I mean, that she's gone through so much.
I mean, ancient, ancient, the immediate response. But I think you've heard me say this before, that I feel that if you went to and looked at the original remains of Lucy, the first like our our direct ancestor, the one that we draw our lineage from, I always assume that you would see some kind of depiction or interaction with Bilquis. And so that's how old I think. I mean, it's ancient, it's time upon time. And so that's why it's so fascinating that we're looking at this idea of how you can get entrapped in one view
Right.
of the self. And if living within that, perhaps lose access to all the other parts that exist of oneself. But I also, I love that people are understanding that this is not in any way throwing away a previous part of herself.
Right.
It's just saying that is not the only thing that I am. There
Yeah,
are many different parts.
I liked you did a video where you went through Bilquis's apartment and you mentioned, this is her time where she was the Queen of Sheba, and you mentioned other things. So that's how it felt. And I wanted to ask if you ever kind of thought about at what point did Bilquis's worship become, and please forgive me for lack of better words, where she say devoured the people that she was at? Like, how, I wonder how that even came to be necessarily.
Right. I mean, and I always want to make sure people are also, I love that people are doing a lot of research around these concepts and these ideas. But I always like to remind people that we're also coming from a concept, from a fiction that the incredible Neil Gaiman wrote, and there was a character and there was an idea, and then we get to play off of some historical concepts and kind of fantasize around it a little bit. But I'm a geek, so research is always going to be a part of my preparation. And one of the things that was given to me was the book When God Was a Woman.
Okay.
And there were some fascinating ideas. I bring fascinating up a whole lot this this interview, and I'm just going to state it now. But it's because to me all of this is so incredibly interesting.
Right.
But it talked about where there was a period of time where we did see a lot more goddess worship, that it was a lot more of a part of society. It even spoke of the time when people didn't understand how conception and birth worked. So if you look at it from that standpoint, you'd all of a sudden see a woman just create life.
Right.
All of a sudden there's life. It had nothing to do at that time in anybody's minds with a connection between the male and the female. It was just this incredible being all of a sudden brings forth life. And there was a period where there was a lot more what's the word I'm looking for, more devotion, more worship, more respect for the feminine, for the feminine power, the feminine being. And that's the feminine, again, that's not about the gender binary that we tend to like to play in now, right? But then there was this shift where there was then a fear of the strength and the power of the feminine energy. And then there was also a need to claim. All of a sudden individuals are like, oh no, that has to be my child, and I need to make sure that no one else has access and can have, and then I need this to be my lineage. And so there were a lot of things that happened during a time period that stripped a lot of women of power, a lot of goddesses, a lot of individuals that had formerly had, that had prominence, where then there were different ways that were found to bring them down, to either insert them into the narrative in a way that puts the male energy above it, or to completely cut off that energy altogether. And so there was a period of time where it was systematic, and done purposefully. So in seeing that research, to me, then it followed that, oh, for Bilquis, I could see that happening, where there was so much more power around her and all of that. And there was a lot of fear of how much power existed within her. And then there was effort to close it in and to box it into something that may have been deemed usable, and that could also be looked down on when it was necessary for the individual that wanted to use it.
I love all the research that you've done. And as you were speaking, I was like, wow, that is such a more like prolific reason than I feel like I would have ever come up with. So thank you for that. And now that we've seen Bilquis like realize all of this and have her spiritual awakening, first of all, I hope there's a lot more French fries out there for her. But what else can we expect from Bilquis for the rest of the season now that she's had this?
Now that she's had this, you see a Bilquis that is allowed to breathe on the screen, and you feel this woman that is no longer living in the constraints, like the corset is off. You also will see, I can say, you will see her in a way that you have never seen her before. And I think you particularly might find this interesting. I won't say why.
I can't wait personally. I love the scene that we saw where Bilquis just filled up that room with the water and she was coming out of it. And I loved Shadow looking at her in awe, Technical Boy running away. I mean, it was just so phenomenal. And I did want to ask, how was it working with Ricky, being able to have like a conversation where it's just this really wonderful kind of normal conversation that you would never expect, considering in season 2 we saw Bilquis, attempting to seduce Shadow. So how was that with Ricky?
Oh, I mean, you've met Ricky Whittle, so he's I always say he's the world's answer to clean renewable energy. Someone with so much energy, so much just joy. And it was getting to see those two characters I think that's even more important now, is the fact that we get to see them at ease, not in a space that was rooted in trauma, in a space where they can just interact with each other without the constraints of the ideas of the outside world. And you see them, and this is why I refer to it a whole lot as intimate, because you see them be absolutely vulnerable with each other, absolutely open, nothing held back. And I mean, you couldn't ask for a better scene partner than Ricky Whittle for that. And it was just, getting to see, yes, he did laugh a whole lot that I would never finish a fry, but I had a lot of fries to go through. They were delicious. So, if we had dinner with all the takes, I would have, I've gone through buckets of fries. But he was always giggling about that. But yeah, it is one of my favorite sequences because it's just so at ease. And that I don't know that everyone's, well, actually, no, I think a lot of people have, again, keyed into the importance of being able to see that portrayed on the screen.
I know I keep referring to the French fries. I only do so because it's Lent right now, and
Oh,
I decided to give up potatoes. So, because I ate a lot of French fries and chips, and I was like, oh, this looks so good. But you know, while I still have you, I did want to touch upon, you said before that you are a geek. And I'm sure that you've seen people fan cast you. I've done it, and I believe you have as well, as Storm in the MCU. And because listen, every time I see Bilquis, especially in season 2, when we're behind the stage and you see her eyes lit up and everything, I'm like, that's Storm. Do you still feel as if that's a character you'd really love to like hone in on?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, sometimes I go, maybe I should give a different answer, but no, I'm a geek. I love this character so much. I think I've mentioned before, since the time that I moved here and saw, those X-Men cartoons,
Yeah.
and I was just drawn to this incredible being. And then as time went on, this whole idea, her and her claustrophobia, and I think that, that kind of speaks to this idea of this. She really is a giantess of a being. I mean, Omega level, right? She is, in every sense of the word, immense, and feels like is being constrained by a world that doesn't know how to handle all of that power. And that I find fascinating. The more I learn about it, and one of the things I love about geeks and geeking out and Comic Cons and things like that is that, yes, a lot in the world we're told to, hold it back. Right. Like, you really want something, don't really talk about it. You really enjoy something, oh, okay, cool about it. This is why I love geekdom. This is why I'm a geek. I'm going to say that I love something, that I would love to be a part of something. I'm going to share that love with people, and also geek out with other people when they say, yeah, that would be great. And so I'm just joyful for the whole community that geeks out with me over this. And for sure, that is something that I think we will always continue to geek out over.
Yeah, I would love it. I feel like I want to manifest it into the world. But let's just say hypothetically it doesn't happen, which really
Yeah,
honestly would be like such a missed opportunity. But is there
yeah.
another character in the Marvel or DC world that you would love to play?
Oh, well, see, first off, I'm not going to say it's not going to happen because that's how much of a geek I am.
Right.
Um, but speaking of more worlds, I'm always talking about, well, more and plenty of things to play with. I've always been a fan of Nubia. And so
Oh,
that, right. So did you just get the notification? We have unlimited minutes.
oh, sorry. um,
I
no.
feel like the technology said, yes, you are speaking to my interests, continue. But yeah, that's also an incredible character. And that's, and when it comes to geekdom, I'm not less of a subscriber to can only like the one thing and the one side. The more the better, the more things to geek out about together, the happier that I am.
That's how I feel as well. No Marvel versus DC, like they're all amazing. Let's just all have fun. But
Just find the most fun from all of it.
yeah, exactly. So I'm manifesting that you play Storm in the future, and I'm manifesting that we get another season of American Gods because I would love that. But before I wrap everything up and let you go to enjoy beautiful California right now,
Yeah.
I know things are difficult with the pandemic, but do you have anything else upcoming that you'd love to promote and for people to tune in for?
Okay. It's spoiled. Okay. I'm trying to think of the things to chat about. Oh, speaking of, the different worlds, the Zack Snyder project, the uh, Las Vegas, um, the sorry,
Oh, Army
my
of the Dead?
brain, Army of the Dead, Las Vegas is coming up. Thank you. The brain just wasn't working for a moment. So that should be coming up soon. Very excited about that. And then there are some more things I should be able to chat about soon. But the things right now, recently did an Octavia Butler reading, which was such a joy to be a part of. I'm such a huge fan. And of course, our audiobooks for The Death of Vivek Aji, just been on the list for awards. And so, yeah, those are the things I can think of at the moment that I can say in public.
Well, anything in the future that you need promoting, I'm here for you. But um, Yetide, it has been amazing speaking with you. I really thank you for taking the time. And I hope everyone who's listening and watching, make sure you check out American Gods Season 3. It's on the Stars app. It's every Sunday. We have 4 more episodes, and it's just going to be amazing. So, yeah.
There's no excuse.
Yeah. So thank you so much to Teddy. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Bye.